Hi, welcome back to Grow It Anyway. Today, we are going to take a garden tour of my very messy garden. It's February in Oklahoma. I'm zone 7A, and I want you to see how messy my garden is and why it's so great to have an imperfect garden. So come along with me and let's grow it anyway.
Welcome to Grow It Anyway, where imperfect gardens still grow. If your plants don't look Pinterest perfect, you're in the right place. So come on, let's grow it anyway together.
So far, we've been spending a lot of time in the greenhouse because it is February, but today is such a nice day here in Oklahoma that I wanted to show you my garden. My garden is a mess right now, and I'm just gonna show you what we've got going on. We're about to do a big revamp of the garden. We had deer fence up, and I'll show you that. We had deer fence up along the edges, and so my husband has pulled up all of the poles because we were gonna have to get in there with the tractor. So this is my first trellis that I put up. It has morning glories in it, or had morning glories in it. I need to get in here and pull all of this down. I've got most of it pulled down, but not all of it. These beds we did in ground, and we just had some wood put up, barriers, just to kind of keep the soil from eroding down the hill, because I'm on a hill. It was fine. We did no-till method, but it was so much with the Bermuda grass, and so I just couldn't manage it. So we have decided that we are going to do things a little differently. So let me show you what we got going on. That was the okra. So last year we had 18 beds, plus I had herbs going along the back here, and then I had tomatoes on the other side where you saw that plastic. All of that was tomatoes and herbs. But about midway through, we decided, you know what, let's try some raised beds and see how we do. So we got these metal beds, and if you want more information about those, let me know. I wanted to put my strawberries in there. So this is our strawberry beds. They're just about, I don't know, an 18-inch bed. We put wood in the bottom of them just to kind of help fill. And then we put topsoil and amended that right in the soil, or we amended it. And then we put, dug up my strawberry plants and put them in there. So these are the type of beds that we have started to put in. Right now, we only have 5 beds. Let me move this. We only have 5 beds in the garden. We have 3 with frost claws, and this is one of those. So let me show you what's under here. It's pretty exciting. In the bottom of our garden, I wanted to just go ahead and unclip that so you don't have to painfully watch me do that. I have this cloth is just like cold weather's frost cloth. And I bought these cheap little fiberglass poles that you just stick in the ground to put it over to protect what you've got going on in here. Now, it's been winter, so like I said, messy garden, but this is real life. So in here I've got spinach that is doing amazingly well. We've got some frost damage here from that freeze. Even though it did have you know, frost cloth on it, we still got some frost damage, and nothing else is really growing in here. All the weeds. You know, this on the surface looks pretty dry. If you put your finger in, it's really nice and moist in there, so it's getting a lot of moisture. That's one thing I absolutely love about winter gardening, and gardening through the winter. There's a rock in here. Is that, you know, you don't have to water as much. You don't have the pest pressure. I'm just going to sit here and weed while we're talking. You don't have the pest pressure that you do in the spring and the winter. The other thing that I have in here is I have, oh, now I'm obsessed with getting this one weed out. I also have planted garlic in here. You might see some tops of it. Some of it, because it got so warm, it started sprouting a bit. So I don't know if I'm going to actually get to harvest that garlic this year. We'll see. But there's probably, there's dozens and dozens of, I think there's about, I don't know, 24 to 36 garlic bulbs planted that I planted in the late summer. No, that's wrong. I planted them in the late fall. I've never planted garlic before. I followed the directions, and I know that they have to have cold stratification, which means they need a freeze, they need to be put out. It takes a long time for them to grow, and so they need to be, have a cold snap and be in the cold for them to actually produce. So those won't be ready to harvest until, I believe, late spring, early summer. So yeah, that's my back bed number one. So let me tell you about this bed. This is my Dutch cabbage bed. I had all my brassicas in here. I had I put them in. I started them. I got plants from the nursery, because I didn't have time to seed this summer. I was busy. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to try cabbage in the fall garden and try to get it going. And they were doing great. So the first thing, I put them in too close. Okay, lesson learned. So that I wasn't going to get these gigantic cabbages. But the other thing that I did is I knew that I had to have some insect cloth, because we have cabbage moths that will devour. The last cabbage I had tried to grow last spring, it just were decimated by the cabbage moths. And if you're wondering, why do I have like lacy looking leaves on my cabbage or my greens, the bane of my friend PJ's existence, the cabbage moth. And then I knew that it was getting below freezing, that it was getting real close to freezing or below freezing. And so the second thing that I did was I put on that frost cloth just over top of this one. But it got well below freezing. I think the temperatures got down to 0, -2 Fahrenheit, and we had a lot of snow, more snow than we normally get. I think we got 6 to 8 inches. For us, that is huge, because we don't have the infrastructure that the northern states have. And so these little fiberglass things that I bought ended up collapsing due to the weight. And so because of that, I've lost every single cabbage. All of the insides are just mush because they froze. Because they froze, my cabbage are done. Now you're wondering, why haven't I pulled them yet? You can see my broccoli, my last broccoli, it is decimated. I've got 2 Brussels sprouts back there, but they are so damaged. I don't think there's any way they're coming back from that. But I still have my frost cloth on here. But these are just all gone, and I'm super sad about it. I'm letting them sit here and just kind of, compost themselves. Probably end up giving some of these to the chickens if they want them. But yeah, it's really sad. That heavy snow just killed them. And it wasn't because it was too cold outside. It would have been fine had this not collapsed and all of that snow was directly on top of the cabbages, and it just froze them. So what did I learn? This is not going to get it in a snowstorm. And maybe I should have put on an extra layer, but I don't know that an extra layer of frost cloth would have even mattered with the snow collapsing these. So I'm probably going to figure out something better. I've seen PVC done with this, and so I may just try that. You've seen all the cabbage I've got in there, so I am going to replant the cabbage in the spring, but I'm not going to let the little cabbage worms just have them this year. We're going to try this. And I think these will probably hold up for the spring. We'll see. Let's go to the next bed. Okay, so this next bed I set aside for my root vegetables and also for my lettuce. I had lettuce at the end. So the same setup here. We have the little fiberglass poles. I had insect cloth because I planted this in the fall, and so I wanted to make sure I didn't have any bug pressure. And then I also put the frost cloth over the top. I've already harvested. Look at this. I just pulled this out. This is showing you that, yeah, my garden's not perfect. But look what's growing in here. I still have my carrots in here. I'm probably going to let them go. There's some weeds as well. I think that's purslane or something. People actually eat that. I do not. So you can see the tops of my carrots here. They've got some frost damage. Same situation happened. This got heavy with snow and collapsed. I've already got my beets out of here. All my radishes were done. And so there's not a whole lot going on in here, as you can see. There's some onions. I planted sets. I did not start them by seed, but I planted sets of onions. Here, there's like 3 rows of them. And they just never came up. You can see I've mulched it pretty heavy because it was, you know, for winter I put this straw, not wheat straw because I learned that lesson, but I put this straw that doesn't have any weed seeds in it over the top and just really mulched them pretty well. So even though the tops of my carrots have frost damage, let's see if I can find one here. They're still growing. Pull it out. I mean, look. I mean, that is a pretty decent sized carrot. It's got frost damage on the top, and it's still growing. I'm probably going to leave these for several more weeks. I could harvest them. I did harvest a few yesterday, just because I needed to roast some carrots for supper. Let's see if we can get this one out. This is getting pretty good size. Yeah. Not bad. I mean, we got 2 carrots. I'll probably munch on those at lunch. But these are Danvers. 126 is probably the most popular carrot that I've seen, and it's really the only carrot I've grown. I'm going to grow some different ones this spring, so I'm super excited about that. But yeah, my little carrots, I mean, you can see there's tops there. That one might be a little too close together, but they're still growing. And so even though my garden is a mess right now, I mean, it is an absolute nightmare. It's winter, it's supposed to be, it's the time that we rest and rejuvenate. These beds have got all kinds of weeds growing in them, and we'll have to do a lot of amendments, and it's not a lot, but we'll have to top them off. These are the first year for these beds, so it's gonna sink, right? Let's see if I can set you up here. These beds are gonna have settled. So like I said, we put brush in the bottom here of the bed, probably like the, I don't know, the first 6 inches or so. The first 6 inches we put, you know, gosh dang it, what am I trying to say? We put wood, you know, just like branches and kind of ballast, I guess is the best way to put some cardboard stuff that mulches down, that's going to break down. So we put that in the bottom so we didn't have the expense of filling up a full 18 inches worth of soil. So we're going to top these off because of those branches and stuff over time, especially over the winter. You can see that the level of the dirt has dropped. So I don't know if you can see the edge here. I mean, it's probably a good hand's width. What is that? Probably 3 or 4 inches. It's dropped. And so I'm going to put some more topsoil in here, amend it with compost, and depending on what I'm growing in there, put some organic fertilizer in there just to kind of keep it going. I've got to start planting here, direct sowing, in a few weeks. So we're going to work this weekend to get the rest of our beds in. We think, so we've got plenty of beds. My husband, my sweet, sweet husband I told you about, he has put all of those beds together. I think there's 5 up there right now, and we're going to put in at least 5. So we got some tractor work to do, just because we did all of this by hand. We didn't use a tractor last year except for to dump some of the compost and dirt in here. But we did most of this by hand, and we don't want to do that this year. So we need to level out so we can put our beds and space them out so I can get my trellises, my cattle panels back up to start growing things here in the next month to 6 weeks. So I'm super excited. I'm going to redo some carrots. I'm going to put some carrots in, so I'll have a late spring harvest, maybe a summer harvest for some more carrots. But anyway, I'm putting in a bunch more carrots this year because they are so great. One thing I will always probably put in my winter garden is carrots. The carrots that I grew, not so great successfully over the summer. They were not as sweet as this. These have been so cold. It just makes them so much sweeter. If it didn't have like dirt, I would probably right now. But they're just so much sweeter. So I definitely will be doing this again next fall. So I'll have an early spring or late winter harvest for the carrots. The beets, those did not do amazingly. I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know if the weather was just so weird. And here's the thing, in the garden, you can do every single thing right. And then the weather, knocks you out of it. We can't control the weather, right? So we can only control what we can control. My lettuce, I still have a nice big head of lettuce down there that I can harvest. But other than that, there's just not a lot going on right now in here. And most of my work has been keeping my herbs going in the greenhouse. That has been such a great addition to our homestead. If you want to call it a homestead, we have 10 acres. We both have jobs. We're not like homesteaders, I would say, but we do, I guess we do some homesteading. We do some homesteading things. Eggs and duck eggs and chicken eggs and all of those kinds of things that my grandma hobbies that I've absolutely loved. And I'm just going to reattach this so it doesn't blow away in this lovely Oklahoma breeze. What else? A lot of big plans. We're going to put in the new beds and replant. We're scaling some things back. I'm not going to have a lot of different varieties of peppers that we just didn't eat. We didn't know what to do with. We didn't like them. We're going back to basics. And we'll talk about some of those things I just absolutely will not grow this year, just because either they weren't successful or we just didn't enjoy them. So yeah, this is my messy, imperfect Bermuda grass, frozen cabbage, spinach and carrot growing fall winter garden. So I cannot wait for you to come along to see. I will try to film for you a bit of what we're doing to put in the new beds. I think it's going to be exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. A lot of work, but hard work doesn't hurt anybody. What else am I going to do? Watch TV. So it's just really good exercise. I don't go to the gym. This is what I do for the gym. I do hard labor in my garden. And, it's just so fulfilling. I hope that you guys do this for yourself, even if it's just starting off like I did when I lived in this city. Literally had pots on my back porch. I had a thing that was hanging on a shed that I planted some tomato plants in it. It was kind of like a early version of green stock. And you know, it's just fun. It's through these struggles. Yeah, I lost some money on the cabbage, but really there was 2 cabbage plants per, and I got a couple of cabbages that were small, and I harvested early. But man, I learned so much about it, even though I know what I don't want to do next year. And just I'm having a good time. So I hope that you guys just stick something in the ground, even if you don't have raised beds, even if you're, you know, don't have the space for it, you don't live on property, find a way and, just grow it anyway. So I'll see you guys next time.